Age of Heroes of Conan Exiles is almost upon us. Predicted to be early October, but probably somewhere to be mid to late October knowing Funcom. Possibly also already released by your viewing of this video. Regardless, the information in here should help you out. Now, living settlements are a lot less daunting than we thought they were going to be, especially for PvP. Now, sure, if you want every single bench in your base to be full and super immersive and interactive, it will take up a lot of your follower spots, unfortunately. But there's actually no need for that whatsoever. You'll see below me a little experiment I have set up, and over yonder I'm currently building a smidge of a village. Haven't done that yet, but hopefully we'll have a video on that at some point. But below me we have a bit of an experiment that we will expand upon in this guide together. So essentially on PvP, our biggest downfall is trying to protect our base and our thralls. Now that they are a follower, that's a little bit harder to do, and they get around opening doors, which I wish they wouldn't. A simple little thralls can't open this door interaction on the door would go a million. Just saying. Why that wasn't an automatic thing, I'm not even sure. But I'd also like to be able to assign beds as well, because when I'm popping down beds, I don't want to be resetting my spawn point every time. That's also kind of annoying. So if they could change that, that's just a little bit of a side note. Regardless, you can actually just have one alchemist now. So that's cool. We used to have many because bombs and all of that, and have many different benches smithing away. And you might think these lazy buggers are now taking breaks and going to beds and wandering all over the shop, and I wish they'd just stay at their bench doing their work. Well, fear not, because it actually turns out their radius is a lot bigger than 9 foundations or 50 meters. They've increased it to about 50 foundations, and that's actually bloody huge. You honestly do not need to be having bases much bigger than that, and especially if you're on a multiplayer servers, most of them have rules against building any bigger than that anyway. But on single player, and especially PvP, we more than most often have kind of clustery bases or smaller hidden bases, and now you can not even have doors and have your alchemist work at every single bench simultaneously. Take this for instance, I can start him crafting some bark over here, but I also want him to craft something over at this bench, and he's going to be doing all of that at the same time, because you can't have these bonuses in there without an alchemist, while he's still just chilling over here, NPCing, not actually interacting with anything, just kind of pretending, playing the part. So like I said earlier, unless you're really after that super immersive base with dudes getting around everywhere, you actually only need one alchemist now. So that's kind of huge gains for PvPers. It does suck that now, yes, they can be killed when your base gets raided, but most people who have already been playing already have all of their benches full of alchemists, or whatever bench you happen to have full of thralls. When the update comes out, I'm pretty positive, because of what happened on the actual test live here with my current thralls, that they will revert to an item before being placed in the world, and you will have to place them in the world yourself. You do not have to place them at an actual spot, and you can move them about and assign them, but you'll have to place them somewhere first before you can assign them to a spot. By just placing them somewhere, they'll decide where they want to go. So you just pop him down and he's like just an alchemist now. He knows he's working at every single bench in that 50 tile area. And if you aren't prepared and you haven't happened to have gotten on prior to the update, all your other dudes will just be chilling in here as items. Anyone who is equipped to a bench. But I highly advise just popping away all extra dudes and only placing out one crafter of a kind at a time, because you really don't need more. And that way they're not going to take up extra space on your follower list. Well, not too much extra, because essentially you really only need 8 crafters, and that's being fancy, with all the kinds of armorers and blacksmiths. And 10 if you're counting archpriests and sorcerers. But this building, it doesn't even have doors on it, and he can still access it. So you can quite easily build yourself a little safety locker and lock these guys away, because as far as I know, they can't escape as long as they have a couple of their needs met. So if I placed a bed in here, he'd probably just chill in here forever. But just to make it extra safe, I would remove doors from certain areas and build your base in a way that is kind of enclosed. Potentially use repair hammers, rather construction hammers, to build walls in and out of areas rather than having whole doorways. And that way, you're less likely to have them leave open doors in crafting areas. When moving your crafters, you can either move them like you would a regular follower about your base, like so. If you want to take them to a different base and they're already placed, you can get them to follow you. They do like to bug out and try to return back to their crafting position at the base. If that happens, make them stop following you and refollow. And sometimes emotes can help them out too. But just generally try not to place more than what you need at a time. So I can either have all of my benches in a sealed little location and have them working on them, or I'm pretty sure, have all of these dudes in a sealed little location, and they will, in fact, touch the benches without touching the benches. And try and keep all of your benches in a tight little area, because really, as long as you can touch them, apparently the thralls can get to them at some point as well. I'm still not 100% sure if they're just going to teleport out and start using beds and things, so we'll test that out and get back to you in a second. I've been gone for some time and they're currently just chilling still. Even with the option of some beds to use, they're still liking hanging out in their sealed little enclosure. So if you don't like the idea of them being super immersive and about, that's potentially also an option. So there are some things to look forward to, some advantages. If you're on PvP, it's huge gains, massive gains. You just now need one of all the crafters and you can have a million benches. It's just so time saving, even though thralls are pretty quick to tame now. And if you happen to see this before the update, get on over to the Catan caravans and spend your ancient obelisks, because they will disappear on the new age and you can get the crafters now and put them away for then. And you can also deck these guys out in armor, so they're a little bit stronger. I wouldn't mind, if we have to have them, the option to be able to tame them in some way, whether it's just the more they craft, the higher XP they get, because I don't really want to take out a dumb shit leveling if I can't even keep a regular fighter alive half the time to skeletons clustering them. And yes, it's nice having the revived when down thing now for the 3 times, but it's still a little bit annoying on occasion. And now to have to potentially do that with a crafter could be a bit annoying, but I think there would be ways to implement some of the sorcery stuff into it. On that note of sorcery, unfortunately, you can't actually turn them into zombies. This is green because I have this guy in here. Taking him out, now we cannot craft zombies. So that's worth keeping in mind. Don't bother gathering up a bunch thinking you're going to have a really cheap zombie army. That's not a thing. Well, not yet anyway. We have a similar case with our altars. We have them crafting over here and we also have them crafting over here. Now, I'm fairly sure if you were to summon an avatar, it would use the priest that's out, or you would be able to select the priest. So I can change which guy I want to use whatever their bonus is on. So you don't accidentally use your damage priest if you happen to be wanting to craft some claws or whatever. You can actually select it. And I do highly advise just using the regular archpriest and not the named guys, because the regular guys don't have these added bonuses. They haven't implemented the bigger radius of the 50 tiles just yet on the test live, but it is coming allegedly to the actual game. Something else I would love to see them add to this update is also the ability to pick up your thralls again, or maybe knock them out again, feed them some type of knocking outing sorcery potion, make them so I can unequip them from a bench if I so don't want them to be getting around anymore. If you do happen to mess up and place out your 20 million alchemists, well, rip, essentially. So don't do that. So in summary, I highly advise stashing away a bunch of your spare thralls now, because there's no point placing out a whole bunch of them at once. Absolutely no point whatsoever. Save them. Save your follower list numbers. Save the heartache of them getting murdered by something stupid, or the annoying cluster of them just waddling around base, taking up doorways and whatnot. And do take advantage of taking away some of your doorways and repositioning some of your benches before the update. but it might need some tuning after the update as they could change a couple of things. And they more than most likely will, because test live isn't a real test live, it's a test kind of what we might release on the actual release of the game, but it'll likely be vastly different to a lot of these things. But it does give us kind of an idea of what to expect, and huge gains, like I said, for PvPers. 1 alchemist for like a bazillion benches. So far I can't see a cap. He crafts on all of them. So productivity just went through the freaking roof. Let's all drink to that. They've kind of done something mildly right in this cluster of an update that lots of people were dreading. Something to look forward to. It's a slight glimmer. If you have found this information informative, smash that like button, consider subscribing if you're not already. Means a bunch. Trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I recently got to 7k. Love you all heaps. It's crazy I even do this with my time and that you guys even watch. I appreciate you more than words can even say. Stick around for one of my other guides on Conan Exiles or check out one of the other survival games that I play. Until next time, I hope you have an excellent day, evening, night, morning, or whatever it may be, wherever you may be. Have a good one.